We have Nemleria for you today. You're going to get the chance to see some pretty interesting Centurion innovations, along with Sky Striker and some more from the Hobby Store Egypt event. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. You know, I was wondering when we were going to see somebody mess around with Nemleria again. This is one of those decks that you look at in the course of the meta and you're like, holy crap, you know, this deck has some of the coolest little innovations out here. So Nemleria, remember basically the whole idea behind this deck is you're going to be using your extra deck to feed these little nightmare gremlin-looking dudes. And they're basically just going to be doing some things. I know, that's the most convoluted answer I could actually give you, but that's what it feels like to play against this deck. And these stupid things all float, which means you technically have access to train plays. Yes, you can gust off Seven Sins, Tarantula, all you want. There's no Zeus down here. I really do feel like this extra deck might not have been optimized for the best results, but the fact that you're also a shifter deck, and you do see here, we are playing the Condemned Witch. I mean, on normal, you can add a Forbidden Quick Play. That's pretty good. And then you contribute it to special summon a level 4 fairy monster from your deck. Huh. A level 4 fairy monster? Ain't no way. Yeah, that's right. We can bring out Barrier Statue off of searching for a Forbidden Droplet. I guess we finally have reached peak Yu-Gi-Oh! Out here, where we're using actual Condemned Witch to set up some sort of negates. But remember, a lot of the value is going to be coming from, you know, basically setting up the Nemleria, and then you're going to be using things like Dream Tower here. Dream Tower is a stupid card, by the way. Being able to toggle for just getting these guys up and running and then having your opponent stare at them and go, what am I supposed to do about this? Really? Nothing. It's just, you're dealing with the gremlins of nightmares out here. Also, make sure you read these trap cards. If you've ever played against or not played against Nemleria, you will learn some of these trap cards can do some very stupid things for the deck. What else we got back here? Centurion. So, what made me so interested with this, I believe this was the second place out of this tournament, and the other one was a third place finish here. The fact that we're actually playing duality in here. I really had not considered trying this out, to be honest with you. Because when you're kind of looking at how the deck works, you've got to be like, all right, so what are we dualitying for? Well, it's got to be the same type, right? Yeah, with the same original type. So you would have to be going from a dark to a light dragon. Oh, wait, a light or dark dragon into a dark dragon, but this has to be first synchro summon, so can't really do that. But wait a minute, you're telling me that we can set up an Oxwilla here, and then, oh, I guess we're getting to the point now that we're using things like duality to set up some slightly more broken ideas and plays. You know, I guess the more you know out here. Other interesting things, this build is playing one copy of Wake Up Centurion. There have been some arguments out here if you do need to be playing this card. I honestly have seen hardly any decks trying to play this, but I do like the idea of this. And you do see Phalanx being more of the value card here over the True Awakening. Most builds are going to push the True Awakening down to the side and then pull it out if need be. And you do see in here, we are playing Shifter, and you are dedicating more slots in this build to those potential hand traps. It's kind of interesting, like I said, though. We're only playing 2 crossouts with like a Called by the Grave in here as well. I can make the argument here that the Called by the Grave is about as good as a crossout designator for what you're using it for. You're going to be using this to make sure you can blank any real troublesome issues that are going to come across your desk. So, honestly, this is cute. I like this. It wasn't on my bingo sheet for this year. Ha! Runic Stun. Now, this finished top 4, which means this duelist did have some potential problems to run into here. And I do see that we're finally at the point, I guess, that we're dropping the Amano Awados and relying on the Inspector Borders back at it again. To be honest with you, this and Amano, they're going to rotate a lot. It just kind of comes down to the format and what you feel like you need to have. Now, interesting tech choices here. Still doing the 1-card scanner. Yeah, once you see a tip and you can start looping tip with scanner, you feel like an absolute champ. Like, the card scanner with this has been one of my favorite things. We are playing one copy of Dimensional Fissure. I'm a little bit indifferent about this. There are times where I do feel like you want to, just to make sure, you know, you can kind of get those options going. And then we're actually playing the Runic Allure. I will say that the Runic Allure helps you start to turbo off your opponent's deck a lot easier. That's a pretty major thing out here when you're looking at something like this, is you need to shave those resources as fast as possible. And there will be some games where Runic Allure is absolutely dog butt. Trust me, I've seen them. All right, you've just got to consider what you want to do. I also see we're not really playing anything to really unlock the extra monster zone except for Baduski. I don't really know if I like that all that much. Also dedicating the triple synchro zone is fine. I see that we've also playing the triple Morganite. That's a lot of Morganite. I can understand why you're playing 3. You want to make sure that you can actually see the card. That way you can put the pressure on your opponent so you can try to start to win the game. Outside of that, I don't see anything else really too spicy about this. It's a lot of the same standard ratios. We're used to seeing 42 cards is justifiable. Right now, you just want to make sure you have the little extra tech choices to go. Oh, baby! Our winner out of this event was Tenpai Dragons. And yes, that's right. We're back. You are going to be playing the one Magna Hut. Magna Hut is an incredibly important card in this deck. You need to make sure that Magna Hut, you know, if your opponent drops down, you know, some little light monster along the way, the Magna Hut toggles you into any dragon that you need, and guess what? You can attempt to win the game. And good news, everybody, it's an extra, do I need to say it, an extra 2,500 damage to burst your opponent for a game. Wow, it does come up. Now, interesting little tech choice here. I see we're all playing one Ghost Spell. Not super crazy about that, but okay, I see that we do have the Necro Valley. I've been raving about Necro Valley. I love this card. I think that Necro Valley is one of the stupidest things you can do, especially when you can Ancient Fairy Dragon, rotate your own field spell out into the Necro Valley and have your opponent stare at it and go, what's that doing there? And it's like, it's there to inconvenience you. It's why you play it. We also do have the triple copies of Dimension Shifter down here as well. To the builds that were trying to play Shifter, it was a cute gimmick. It really was. I just don't think it doesn't feel that good. Like, I feel like the ideas of playing Shifter in this deck, obviously, you know, you're shutting off your graveyard, so guess what? Tenpai can't actually flow, but this is meant to hurt your opponent more so than you, so then, you know, you can Tenpai your opponent on the follow-up turn to win the game. Typically is what you're trying to do. I see we're also playing the Change of Heart in the main, which is fine. You do see the triple Heatwave with the triple Dimensional Barrier, and then the Rivalry. There has been a pretty decent amount of discussion with Rivalry in these builds. I did see one build main decking it, which was kind of spicy, actually. Wasn't exactly the greatest thing I've seen in the world, but you know what? I mean, most everybody's dragging for what you needed to do, so I don't really see much of an issue with that. But outside of that, you got your little tips and tricks. Seems good. And our last list here was a case tournament finish for Sky Striker. That's right. You got the triple engage out here finally running around. And people are trying out, well, the new ideas of, ooh, you know, what can we pull off of the toolbox? Your utility option, I mean, you're doing the Eagle Booster, the Afterburners, the Hornets, double Shark Cannon, which I think is fine. I do want to point out, though, a lot of decks right now have been stripping down and only playing 2 copies of Linkage. I will say that that has been kind of interesting to see. Basically, I would figure that you would want Linkage to be there as that big push card in case you need to do OTKs, but I guess with Bysteals kind of looming around every corner out here, you know, having your Rose stripped out of the graveyard just puts you into such a bad position, and we're still missing some very important Sky Striker Link monsters. Actually, in the next battle set, we should be getting Carmelia, which actually should change the entire way that Sky Strikers attempt to function as a deck. We gotta wait to get to that point so we can actually see what we can do with that. But for now, this is actually kind of cool to see. I'm happy. This is also pretty good to see that this deck did have a built-in answer to the little pesky cat deck. You will thank yourself for actually having, once you build in outs to certain matchups, even if you don't see them, things like Herald of Abyss is just another spell card that you can punt off, and it's also not like you can't thrust into it because you have the option to do so. Alright, so just covering your bases. Good stuff. So what do you guys think about these decks? Please, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.